Hey everybody, welcome to the Fox Force 5 News Recap Show. This is Kevin Skinner here with a special episode since I missed last week to talk about the Calgary Expo 2018. It was held over last weekend in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It's kind of our big comic convention, media convention of the year. Guests this year were included Jeff Goldblum, Elijah Wood, Tom Cavanaugh, who you know as the Reverse Flash, Harrison Wells from The Flash, Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future, got Anthony Daniels, C-3PO, Jason Momoa, if you could catch him, he was there, and a huge, incredible list of comic book creators. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about the most about this show. This was the year that they really brought comics back to Calgary Expo. They've been severely lacking in some of the guests for the last 4 or 5 years or so. They've had some big names and stuff like that, but this year in 2018, they really went all out. They brought in big guys like Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, creator of Deadpool, the best writer in comics right now, Donny Cates, who writes Thanos. He's going to be writing the new Venom series, which comes out right away from Marvel. He does a lot of great independent comics too, like Redneck, Tomahawk, God Country, and my favorite, Baby Teeth. Really, really good writer. It was amazing meeting him this year, getting some stuff signed. They also had guys like Kyle Higgins, who writes Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which is amazing. Rob Guillory, the artist for Chew. He has a new series called Farmhand coming out right away. Really looking forward to Farmhand. Rob is a great artist. He has such a unique style that's unlike anything else out there. So stay tuned for Farmhand. If you haven't read Chew, there's 12 volumes out there right now. I highly recommend you pick those up as well. One of the greatest Image comic book series of all time. Amazing. Who else came this year? We got guys like Curtis Weeb, Owen Jenny, who do Rat Queens right now. That's the current team. Really, really cool to see them there. Jodie Hauser, who does Mother Panic, and she's currently doing Thrawn, the Star Wars series from Marvel. Really, really good. Steve Orlando, really digging his new series Crude from Image. You may know him as the guy who did Midnighter a while ago, which is also amazing for DC Comics. Fernando Ruiz, which is really cool to see him again. He does Animal Jam and stuff like that. My daughter met him and got her Animal Jam stuff signed, which was great. Andy Price, Sarah Richard, who do art for My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. Got tons of My Little Pony comics signed by them as well. My daughter did. I'm not a brony. Although you could think I'm lying, whatever. I don't get My Little Pony comics, but he's a great artist. Seeing my daughter light up when she was getting all of her stuff signed by him was just amazing, and he was a really incredibly kind, down-to-earth, cool dude. And I'm sure he'd have to be to deal with all the crazy ass bronies that are out there kicking around, but Andy Price was awesome to see him. The comics was the big deal this year in Calgary. There was a great panel from Renegade Arts Entertainment, who is the local publisher here in Alberta, run out of Canmore. They just recently released a new volume in their Hope series, which is amazing. You should definitely check that out. It's definitely this kind of surreal fantasy, this dark, weird, bonkers fantasy story. Hope, really, really good. Their current hot book right now is Sharkosaurus, which just came out. It's sort of like it's set in Drumheller, Alberta, and it's this weird story that's kind of it's embedded in this horror comedy of this giant shark dinosaur that comes out of the ground and starts killing everybody. And so the religious people who obviously don't believe in evolution, who are constantly arguing with these people that are digging up dinosaur bones and stuff, these two groups have to kind of cooperate together or die. They die anyway. The Sharkosaurus doesn't care what side you're on. He's going to kill you all. So Sharkosaurus is hilarious. Definitely check that out from Renegade Arts. Their next book coming out right away is called Frank, by Ben Rankel. It's coming out here in like a week or two. I reviewed it on the site. I would highly suggest you check it out. It's one of the strongest comic book debuts I've seen in a long time. It's Ben's debut graphic novel. You might have seen some of his work before. He did a really good short story called Gary in the Rat Queens hardcover that came out a little while ago. It's hilarious. Rankel's art is special, and especially his use of colors in Frank. It's unlike anything else you've seen before. He uses this really great use of yellows and darks, And something else really funny is he does blood is pink. I think it's like this weird pink color. It's almost like acid wash colors. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before. And for him to put that stuff in this book, Frank, really sets it apart from other period pieces, because Frank is about this murder mystery kind of set during an actual Canadian historical natural disaster where this mountain slide just engulfed this whole town called Frank. And it's, if you've driven by it in Alberta, it's crazy. The boulders are the size of houses. It just engulfed this entire small town. One of the scariest things ever. And so Ben did a really good job putting this fictional story in with a factual event, and the results are amazing. Definitely check out Frank. It's one of the coolest indie books I've seen in a long time. What else about Calgary Expo? This year they separated the comic book creators into the Big Four building, which is a smart move. In the past, they kind of just shoved in the comic book guys at the end of kind of all like the merch booths and stores and stuff like that, and it just was not a good place for them. They're kind of stuck in the middle between two major entrances and exits, so there's constantly this flow of traffic that was cutting them off from fans. And this year, putting them in the Big Four was definitely a great move. That's one of the things I loved most about this year's Calgary Expo was the new layout. It really, really worked. The crowd seemed crazier than normal this year. I went on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and usually Friday is a slower day. Friday felt like Saturday, which is usually the busier day. And then Saturday felt like two Saturdays stacked on top of each other. The crowds were nuts. It was really hard navigating some of the areas, but not as bad as it used to be in the past. The food lineups were ridiculous, but I kind of blame the vendors for that a little bit, especially some of the Stampede vendors that work in the building all the time. Just not the most professional people, so that was a shame. They just were taking forever. Silly stuff like that, but I mean, that's just all minor griping. The Calgary Expo was great this year. The staff, the organizers did an impeccable job delivering a great show. The only other minor gripes I had were maybe some of the comic book creators, some of the bigger names were charging a little bit more than they usually do, which I found odd. Rob Liefeld is definitely milking that Deadpool money as hard as he can. I think his autograph was just shy of $60 Canadian for this show to sign something that you already had. And then he was charging even more if you had like a key issue. So like Deadpool's first appearance, Cable, X-Force, stuff like that. He was charging over $100 just to sign your stuff, which I find asinine. The guy's not Stan Lee. He doesn't need to be doing that. But hey, Deadpool 2 is coming out, so Rob's going to milk that money as hard as he can. Whatever. Another thing I thought was silly was Jason Momoa only showing up to do autographs and photo ops. He did not do a panel this year, which is sad because if you know Jason Momoa, the guy's hysterical. He's a funny dude. He does great interviews. If you've seen that water fight he did with Jimmy Fallon a while ago, it's great. It was really sad not being able to see Jason Momoa, and especially since he's all over the promotional materials this year. Do a panel, man. Don't come to a show if you're not going to do a panel for the regular pass holders. We shouldn't have to double dip. I mean, this is the very definition of loot boxes at Calgary Expo. You pay to get in. Oh, you want to see Jason Momoa? You got to pay $100 for his autograph, and $130, I think, for a photo with the guy. Ridiculous. I didn't even catch a glimpse of him this year because he was too busy making money, and then he was getting the hell out of there as fast as possible. I like Momoa as an actor. Not sure why he decided to make those choices he did for Calgary Expo. He's done the show before where he's done a panel and it was great. This year, decided not to, so that's a shame. But yeah, that's about it. I really liked the exclusives they had this year. Picked up this Infinity Gauntlet exclusive Calgary Expo 2018 shirt. It's a lot of words. I bought it on the Saturday, threw it on, and took it to actually see Infinity War in IMAX in Calgary. Great experience. It was a good time. This was the first year I brought my kids. My two oldest ones, who are 7 and 8, and they had a blast too. I was worried that the crowds would be a little bit overwhelming for them, but the way that the expo was set up, there was some cool activities for the kids to do to take a break. There's big bouncy castles and stuff like that. So it was a nice break from the chaos to take the kids and do that sort of stuff. They had an awesome time. They really liked seeing Elijah Wood with me, who was definitely the highlight panel of the weekend, was seeing Elijah Wood. Tom Cavanaugh's panel was hilarious because we got to see the short film, surprisingly, that he did with Grant Gustin called Tom and Grant, full of F-bombs and stuff. And it was kind of weird seeing the Flash, you know, drop some F-bombs here and there. It was definitely a different side of Grant Gustin that we've all been used to seeing before. It was a great short film. It was just over 20 minutes long. A nice surprise. So that was one of the coolest moments of the weekend as well. But yeah, that's about all I got for Calgary Expo this year. Definitely happy to see comics back in full force. Local stuff was really, really strong this year with Renegade Arts. It was really nice seeing guys like Donnie Cates come through, who's one of my favorite writers right now. Everybody was really friendly, aside from a couple of the big names charging a little bit more than I thought they should have. I don't know. What's the etiquette? You take 3 comics to get signed for free, and then anything after that, you should probably buy something off the table or throw some money their way, which is how it's always been. A lot of these guys were charging $10-20 right off the bat, which is a little weird. Kind of felt like some people are taking advantage of Calgary crowds a little bit because maybe they thought they weren't privy to how the usual rules of con autographs go for comics. So that was a little weird. But overall, an amazing show. The guys did a great job. Michael J. Fox was supposed to come this year, but he had to cancel last minute, which was a shame, but he was getting surgery. So I think that's pretty much the ultimate reason for canceling. So you can't get mad at Michael J. Fox for doing that. It would have been nice to see the Back to the Future reunion with the full main cast, but what are you going to do? Overall, amazing show. Comics are back. Please continue to bring comics back in years forward. That's why I come there. I bring a stack of comics every year. I love talking with these people. This is what I love, is comics. Please continue doing that down the road. And that's it for now for this special edition of the Calgary Expo Fox Force 5 News Recap Show. Until next time.